Well, good morning, everyone. It's wonderful to have you here on this beautiful, sunny Auckland morning. And thank you to Robin, Gemma and the Te Papapa school students, staff and community for having us here today. It's wonderful to be here with my colleague, the Honourable Erica Stanford, Minister of Education, and the local Member of Parliament from Maungakiekie, Greg Fleming, who is the MP for this community. There's nothing like seeing a program happening instead of just talking about it, to show people what it's really about, and it's great to be at the school to demonstrate solar on schools. And today we are announcing that the expression of interest is being launched for 500 schools to receive solar panels on their schools, and the list of schools that will be receiving those solar panels, with 150 schools also receiving energy management systems and some batteries. This is part of a $30 million initiative from the government's budget this year, and outside the school gates the program will help strengthen New Zealand's solar industry by increasing demand for solar expertise and installation services, building market capability and installation quality, creating new opportunities for renewable energy sector and supporting local and regional businesses. So it's really exciting to be here to launch this expression of interest. It's now live on the government electronic tender service, seeking solar system planners, designers and installers to deliver this program nationwide. And to speak to the benefits that this will have for schools, I'm now going to pass over to the Honourable Erica Stanford.
Hey, well, good morning, everyone. I had the immense pleasure last night of sending an email out to the 500 principals who've been selected to be part of this program, and it was really interesting to see the list, because when you look through it, and I know many of you will have had it, you will be able to see that many of the schools that have been selected are small, rural, isolated schools who have energy resilience issues. Some of the schools are larger high schools who have a huge energy consumption, but it is a spread right across the country. I think of schools like Somerville Special School, which we are rebuilding in total at the moment, and what better time to put solar panels on the roof than right now. I think of little schools in the South Island, Picton School, who emailed me back this morning, so grateful. Schools on the Chatham Islands, but the regions, when you look at the list, who have the bulk of these numbers are our Northland schools, East Coast of the North Island, West Coast of the South Island, and predominantly those rural isolated schools. We have made a deliberate decision to get to as many schools as we possibly can, because what we are trying to do is reduce the operational grant on schools so that they can spend more of their operational grant on teaching and learning. And as we've just heard from the young student in the hall, powering our dreams rather than paying for power. So it is a great day. This is the first school we've piloted to make sure that we can do it, and we can do it well. It's gone really well, and now we will roll out the rest of the 500 schools over 2027 and 2028, and it will lead to a reduction in power costs, but also importantly in schools, teaching young people about energy resilience, about renewable energy that will hook into their science curriculum as well. And with that, I think either or both of us happy to take all of your questions.
Great.
Well, we haven't gone to an expression of interest from schools. We went out ourselves and selected schools that we think will be suitable for the program. There will be some schools who have missed out, but this is a future budget initiative. It already is going really well. I'm sure it will continue to go well, and we'll be able to address more schools in future budgets through either the ECA Fund, very grateful for that, and also the Ministry's own funding.
When you say a future budget, does that mean it will come out of next year's budget?
If we decide to take the project further, and this is I'm not going to preempt future decisions, but of course at every budget I look at my education budget overall, my property budget, and we have competing things we have to think about, like putting the walls back in schools, you would have seen, condition issues, new classrooms, and now solar panels will be part of that mix as well.
Does that mean that it will be a National Party election commitment to continue this on?
You have to wait and see, my friend. Oh, I'd get in big trouble if I told you that today.
The Prime Minister this morning, he said on radio that he felt a bit sorry for his colleagues in the way that we made a commitment to an MMP election, referendum. Do you guys appreciate him saying that?
Well, of course. Christopher Luxon is, not only a great leader but a great friend, and he's always one to step forward and say when he could have communicated something better. He's already done that, and also clearly today through the media, made it clear that he apologises to us as well. And that's what good leaders do.
So, Nicola Willis yesterday, when she was talking about the upcoming election, she said that National will not impose any new taxes on working people. Is that leaving the door for further taxes on businesses?
No, I think she was very clear about what she meant there, and what we're doing is setting up a very clear contrast at this year's election between us as a national government, national party, which is about keeping taxes low, and the opposition, which is Labour, Greens, Opportunity and Te Pāti Māori, who the one thing that unites all of those parties is their desire to increase tax, whether it's a wealth tax, capital gains tax, a land tax, a savings tax, an inheritance tax. Those are the things that unite the opposition. They've got 9 new taxes that they're trying to impose upon New Zealanders, and if you want to keep taxes low, you've got to party vote National.
Does that mean you can roll out new taxes on businesses?
Well, the Labour Party is the one which last week announced a big increase in taxes on businesses. They announced a $5 billion increase in tax on businesses by cancelling the investment boost. So Labour is the party campaigning for a tax increase on businesses. We're campaigning on keeping taxes low. And a capital gains tax, another tax on businesses. A wealth tax is a tax on people who want to invest in this country. Higher income taxes on people earning over $160,000 is what the Greens, as part of that coalition, want to put in place. That will include nurse practitioners who will be paying 45 cents in the dollar on any income earned over $160,000. So the contrast is incredibly clear. Vote National to keep your taxes low, or vote Labour, Greens, Opportunity, Te Pāti Māori, with Chloe Swarbrick as the Minister of Finance, to have higher taxes, wealth leaving this country and the economy crashing. Oh, look, I said, yesterday I was interviewed on Q&A and I talked about the issue of wholesale prices, which have come down by about a third since the beginning of this year, since we made the decision to continue with an LNG importation terminal. And I was very clear, we expect the electricity generators to be passing those savings on to consumers, and to do that as quickly as they can, because ultimately New Zealanders are facing high power prices. Those wholesale prices have reduced significantly, and my expectation is that those savings are passed on to consumers.
When you talk about the operational spending that schools are having to use on paying for power, can you paint a picture of how bad it's and how solar is up?
Yeah. But from our modelling at the moment, we know that a large school could save up to $8,000, potentially more. It'll depend on the size of the school and some of their energy demands. But that's what we've budgeted for at the moment, or we've assumed will happen. And once we start getting data in, obviously we'll be able to analyse that as we go.
It's becoming quite a solar-focused election. You've got Labour, the Greens and National all making solar pitches. What makes National the party that will deliver on solar?
Because we deliver.
That's right.
One of the things that you'll notice the difference between us and the other lot is a lot of press releases and a lot of pilot programs, especially in education, a plethora of them. $20 billion we spend in education, and yet things have been going backwards. We're a government that actually delivers. So not only did we announce solar on schools, here's the first one, and we're about to roll out the first 500.
Right.
So we're a government of getting things done, not making press releases and fancy strategy documents that sit on a shelf. Yeah, look, we expect to have 100 done by mid next year.
Schools with boilers, can you explain how many of those are now not going to have to rely on those that can now turn to solar?
Yeah, look, we went through, of course, when the energy crisis with the war in Iran happened, went to every single school and worked out who is using diesel to pull them off. That work has been done, it is underway. Some are relatively straightforward, some are a bit more complicated, but we're working through that and they will all be removed. Solar in schools is now a part of that. We've identified those schools where we've removed their diesel capability, we will be, and we'll be putting solar in. So solar will be part of the answer to those schools.
How many schools based on
Bunch of criteria.
Yeah, there was a number of different criteria that we used. Energy consumption, energy resilience, small, rural, isolated. Some of the schools are community hubs when there is a natural disaster, and those schools have been prioritised. They will be the ones that are prioritised for batteries as well. And also condition of the roof. Look, when we go out and start to install them, we've used the very best knowledge and data and evidence that we have. But if there are any further issues we find on the roof while we're up there, then we'll take that case by case. But we have gone to schools that we know the condition is right for those solar panels. Look, the Ministry are working through that at the moment. I actually asked them this morning on my way here about maintenance. They are putting together a maintenance program, and they'll work out which parts the school might be responsible for, given that their power bills will be significantly reduced, and which bits the Ministry will be responsible for.
Yes.
Have you been briefed on that?
Yeah, look, I spoke to the CEO of St John's last night, and what they're doing here is making sure that all of their resource and the focus of the organisation is responding to what has been significant demand on their service. And of course, they're working incredibly closely with Health New Zealand to manage that demand, and so they'll continue to do so. So I think St John's are doing the right thing to make sure across the country they are working as close as they can with Health New Zealand to manage that demand during the middle of winter.
Part of the problem is this issue that's been building up where emergency departments often literally have people to go to doctor. How bad is it getting?
Yeah, so look, it's the middle of winter. It's always an incredibly challenging time for our healthcare professionals who are working incredibly hard. There's been a lot of progress in reducing ramping in the last few years, and St John's spoke to that yesterday when they talked about this is about demand on their service. Obviously, it is the middle of winter, but they also pointed to the online GP service that was launched by the government and Health New Zealand last year, which means that if you need to see a GP but you can't get an appointment with your own doctor, there is an online GP service available 24/7 that people can use. It's on the Health New Zealand website. You can get same-day appointments. Really encourage people to take up that opportunity and use that service in order to make sure that people can get the treatment that they need. And the advice we've seen is about 85% of people who use that service are getting the treatment that they need by that service.
Are enough people using it, taking it up yet?
Look, there's been increasing demand over time, and we expect that demand to continue to increase. But look, it's the middle of winter. We encourage people to use that service. It is there, it's available. And I think St John's pointed to that as being one of the services that they're trying to encourage people to use as well. So just encourage people to make available use the services that are available as we go through this very busy winter peak. And my thanks to all of the frontline paramedic staff, but also the Health New Zealand staff who are working on the front line, caring for patients during a very busy winter. Sorry? Oh, look, we've increased funding for St John's significantly since we came to government, and we'll continue to do so. We announced further funding in this year's budget so that they can continue to recruit additional staff and put more resource onto the front line. So that's a big focus for this government, and we'll obviously continue to work closely with them. But the announcement they made yesterday was basically saying, look, we're facing significant demand and about making sure that their organisation is working as closely as possible to manage that demand, while also pointing out to patients the alternatives that do exist and encouraging those who can to use those. Yes. Well, we need data centres in New Zealand. We need data sovereignty, and AI is key to the productivity of the future of this nation. So we need data centres in our country. The key thing, though, is that it is being built with new generation to back up that infrastructure. And if you look at the announcement that Contact made, it was very clear that this is going to unlock new generation rather than just taking from the existing generation that is available now. So that is what we expect. We expect AI data centres to be backed up with new generation, not taking up existing generation, and that's what we saw in that announcement this morning.